Yay! Okay, how to not feel like you're behind on everything. Well, you're not, first of all. I talked about it a little in the last episode, but dealing with like imposter syndrome or feeling like you're not doing enough, you're not achieving enough, you're not good of enough person, that's a really hard emotion. It's very overwhelming. And to be honest with you, it's something that I deal with a lot, especially when it comes to how much love I'm putting into my friendships and my relationships. You see it all the time on my Instagram. I'm a person that likes giving love. I like giving joy. I like making people happy. Makes me happy. But sometimes that shit goes into overdrive and I'm like, wait a minute, now I'm getting anxious. First, I want to validate you. That anxiety means that you care where your life is going and you care that things will turn out for the good. And I just want to emphasize that within that uncomfortable feeling is something that is telling you that I want to be happy. For me, in my experience, the times where I felt like I was behind on something is whenever I was comparing myself to other people and comparing myself even to myself. I'll give you an example. I would do like motivational videos multiple times a week in high school. If you go on my page, if you're coming from my page, you know that I do like cute little pep talk videos. They're very fun. But I'm going to tell you right now, I started that when I was 17 years old. And it got to a point where so many of them were going viral that as what happens naturally with the internet, whenever those videos started not going as viral, I felt like I wasn't enough. I felt like my words were all of a sudden not as impactful anymore, and that I had to do better. I had to be better. I had to catch up to my other friends that seemingly were growing faster than me or achieving more than me and giving more to people than me. I felt like this, oh my gosh, sometimes it did cause me depression because it was also during the pandemic. It was this overwhelming feeling that if I wasn't doing as good as everybody else, and if I wasn't achieving as much on the right timeline as everybody else, then eventually everything was going to fall apart. Then eventually everything was going to turn on its head and I was going to be a failure and everything was going to crumble down and nothing would be right ever again. If that sounds familiar to you, I would just need you to take a minute and be like, girl. Whenever I get into these modes, and I need to say that sometimes I still do, even now filming this, I do feel like emotions in the back of my head being like, you have to be as good as the last episodes. You have to be as insightful, as wisdom seeking. So like that feeling sometimes like never goes away. But whenever it does happen, take a breath. And if you need to, go and literally write down the thoughts that you're thinking, even if they sound really mean, just to see them on a page. And then cross those thoughts out and replace them with a kinder thought, a more productive thought that gives you more peace. Be very careful about comparing your own story and your own journey to other people's, because it may seem like everybody else or this certain person is on the right path, doing it the right way, doing it in perfect timing. But you never know what that person is going through and what those person's ideas are of what the right path and right timing is. There is no right way to go through this life. There is no right, perfect timed way to finish your journey. It's only your journey, your life. You're doing it in your timing with the resources and time frame that you have been given. You may be battling things that another person does not even have on their plate. That doesn't mean that you're falling behind. It just means you're on different tracks. y'all still trains. Hello, everybody. My name is Taylor Cassidy. Welcome to Goodnight, Girl, the podcast where we just wind down for the night. It's been a crazy week. We are just coming together and hanging out. I answer your questions, and hopefully you'll get some mental health tips to go on to the rest of your week, or even just the rest of this night with a little more peace and a little more joy. Before we start, let's all take a deep breath and try and let go of all of this chaos from this week. Breathe in and out. In and out. Thank you for doing that with me. This week, I asked you guys to send me questions on how to start the new year. It's 2025. Thank God. 2024 was a year. 2024 was a year for me that came with immense blessings, but also the immense blessings of very difficult lessons and experiences that I never want to go through again. But regardless, I'm thankful for this. I'm thankful for 2024, for what it taught me, for what it brought me through, for what it showed me about myself. I'm just really praying and having hope, and I am determined that 2025 is just about me enjoying all of that growth, you know? All right. How do you stay organized and focused on your goals? For me, I'll just tell you what I do every new year as it pertains to just starting the year off right and making sure that I'm focused on my intentions for every year. I have like a whole process, I'm not going to lie. And for me, it starts with doing this journal. I have about 5 of these journals for each year. It's called the Artist of Life Journal Workbook, or the Artist of Life Workbook by 𝓂𝓸𝓾'𝓮. And it is a journal that takes you through every single aspect of your life and helps you plan for it for the year. Money, health, career, your home, personal growth, spiritual growth, relationships, what your best year would look like, what your mindset would look like. It guides you through who you want to, helps you to figure out who you want to be by the end of the year. And then once again, it has monthly sections where throughout the year you fill out monthly check-ins as to where you are in your goals, what you want to change, how to eliminate excuses. It has a bucket list section where you can put a bunch of bucket list items. It's thorough, okay? My New Year's planning does start with this journal. This is my 5th. I think it has to be like my 5th one of these. And it helps me every year. I fill it out throughout the year, every year. And it has helped me get so very clear about exactly what I want to achieve, why I want to achieve it, and how I want to achieve it, and how I will continue to be consistent in it. It is a plan. One thing that you have to do is write it down. Make a plan for your goals. The second thing that I do every year is a vision board. Vision boards have changed my life. Just the intention of seeing every single day what you want to change and what you want to see yourself turn into. It changes your mindset. Just looking at a visual aid every single day of where you want to go. It's kind of like if you're running a race blindfolded as opposed to looking directly forward at the finish line the whole time. That's what it feels like. Obviously, if you see where you're going, you're better be able to have it in your mind what steps you need to take in order to finally get there. That's what having a vision board for me feels like. Now, obviously, not everything on the vision board comes true every single year, but it helps fill you with more motivation, and it gives you a visual aid that pushes you to take more steps and more risks to potentially achieving something that you put on that vision board. And every single year I do a 21-day fast. I've done it this is my 5th year doing it. Originally I did it with my church. It's the 21-day Daniel fast where you give up like sweets and fast food, and you only eat like very healthy food, and you can lay down other things as well. I've done that. I've done it every single year. I'm doing it right now. And for me, I lay down different things every year as it pertains to what I want to focus on. But I don't just like stop eating sweets and just like do that for 21 days and just see. I lay things down, and I also write down what I want to focus on during that year, now that those distractions are set aside. For example, if I'm deciding for 21 days, I'm not going to go on Instagram. Okay, don't go on Instagram. But what are you going to fill that time with? What do you want from not going on Instagram? From not going on Instagram, I want to focus on how I can get my money in place. So maybe during those 21 days while you're not on Instagram, you're reading a book on financial security, you're going to your local bank and finding out how to open up a Roth IRA or something. This is coming from a 21-year-old that doesn't really know how to do her taxes very well. But you get the example. Like, it's that thing of right at the beginning of the year, immediately making a commitment just for 21 days to lay down a habit that has been a distraction in order for you to dedicate that time to focus directly on the goals that you said you were going to do. For me, it's not just a time for that. It's a time for me to connect with myself. It's a time for me to connect with God. It's a time for me to reflect on the previous year and readjust and receive vision for where I want to go. And I'm telling you, these fasts have also changed my life, because I found that since starting those fasts, honestly, I don't eat fast food a lot anymore as like I used to. I don't eat candy as much as I used to. I don't eat fast food. I don't eat snacks as much as I used to. And that's simply because I genuinely think like during those 21 days, having done those consecutively every single year, my taste has just like gone away for needing those things so much, because I know that if I can not have those things for 21 days straight, no desserts, no snacks, no nothing, I didn't really need it in the first place. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a very hardcore way to go into the year, yes. But for me, it doesn't feel hardcore. It feels like, all right, I'm going to give my God this month because he's giving me the rest of my life this year. I feel like that's a fair trade-off. Now, anyways, monthly check-ins, having the reasons why you want those goals to happen, and also, please, practicing compassion in your journey whenever it doesn't necessarily always go the way that you want it to. How to get the courage to stop something I've been doing my whole life and tell my mom. And this person has been playing piano their whole life, and they want to stop it. Well, first, it took a lot of bravery for you to realize that you wanted to change something. And I applaud you for that. Knowing yourself enough to know that you need to make a really big change in your life takes a level of knowing yourself that is really impressive. So props to you on that. I think it's completely fine to like completely change what you want to do in life. I personally think that life is way too long to do one thing for the rest of your life. Even if I lived for 80 years and I did one thing for the rest of my life, and I had the flexibility and the ability to do other things, but I chose to do one thing for the rest of my life, I would not be happy. So if you were deciding, this thing doesn't serve me anymore, I would like to explore something else in my life, I think that's valid. And I think that's completely okay. If you have the ability to do that, this life is so big, I think that's fine. And I also want to validate how scary that can be to make a really big switch like that. And what might give you more security in that before telling anybody is creating a plan first of what you want to do instead. And if you don't know what you want to do instead, what you would like to discover and learn instead. So in your case, it says like piano. I'm guessing like you studied this in college. If you don't know what else you want to do like for a living other than piano, make a list of things that you would like to learn. Even if that doesn't mean like going to college for it, make a list of things that you would like to discover and learn, and do some research and find out what classes there are, what groups there are, what events there are that you can go to, where you can take a look at what that world would look like. And that way, before you even tell anybody that you're going to make this big change, you can have an idea of what step you'd like to take next. Even if that's as simple as, I'd like to take up acting. I'm going to go to 3 local plays this month. And then I'm going to talk to the actors after the play and just meet them and see what that world is like. Even if that is your only next step, at least you have a plan after you choose to step away from this thing. But if you know for a fact that something that you have been doing your whole life is no longer serving you, it's no longer bringing you joy, it's not bringing you passion, and it's not something you see yourself doing as a career, no matter what your mom thinks, you have to do what is best for you. And you have to do what's best for your life. I don't know your relationship with your mom, but I do know that you are your own person and this is your life, and you have to do something that's going to bring fulfillment to you as best as possible. And it doesn't mean that you'll never play piano again unless that's what you want, but it does mean that you have the right and you have the ability and the gift of life to go and explore, because you are complex. So your life can be complex too. Hopefully that helps. How to deal with regrets about not starting earlier and comparing myself to people who did. I'm gonna tell you a story. And it's going to sound crazy when I say this, and I need you to apply it to yourself. When I was in elementary school, I was so mad all the time that I did not start acting earlier because I wished I could be Sky Jackson on Jessie. I literally was insecure because I thought I was too old as an elementary schooler to be an actor because Sky Jackson was younger than me. I think she's younger than me. I can't remember. Now, if an elementary schooler thinks she's too old to achieve something because she saw some random girl on TV who may or may not have been younger than her, and you think that sounds crazy, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's crazy for you too. You cannot compare your life to somebody else's literally ever, because your circumstances, your growing up, how you're born, your family, your income, all of these things are a factor in your unique life. So your paths, you and that other person's path, is always going to be different. They are never going to be the same. I don't mean that one path is like greater than the other. It's more like they're just different. So they're going to go different. That doesn't mean that you're out of place. That doesn't mean that you're out of touch. It just means that your journey is going differently. You know, Ava DuVernay didn't start like really making films until I think she was like 30. You hear about all the time like 90-year-olds getting their college degree. You have to understand that whenever you start something, it doesn't matter the age you started it at. It doesn't matter the timing you started it at. It matters the faith in yourself that you have to keep going and to see yourself improve and not worry about what could have happened, what could have been, what could have, all this, that, and the third, and get excited about what now can be now that you have started. Because might I remind you, you started it. You didn't have to start it. You could have never started it and then lived your whole life wishing that you did, even if you were a little bit older than somebody else. Give credit to yourself. It says that you're comparing yourself to somebody that started something earlier than you did. At least you're doing it anyway. At least you're listening to yourself and you're trying your best anyway. I think that's incredible. A lot of people don't even have the courage to try. I think that's amazing. So instead of thinking that maybe you would have been farther along if you started earlier, think about how far you can go now that you've started today. Do you know what I mean? Because you don't know what would have happened if you started earlier. You might have discovered you hated it whenever you were younger and then just stopped. You may have gotten injured when you were younger. You don't know. You don't know what's going to happen, what happened in the past. You do not know, but you can decide what happens today. And if you love it today, if you want it today, then that is all you need in order to improve it tomorrow. And that's all you can control. Yeah. Is it time for a big change or to immerse myself deeper into where I am. There's this exercise that I do. I found it on YouTube where in your goal planning, she basically did this thing where you like write down all of your desires on a page, big all the way to small. Big as in I want to have $1 million, all the way down to I want to get this pipe fixed in my kitchen. All of your desires. Then you circle like your 5 top priority and then you cross out the rest. And my mom teaches me this too. She says, know your priorities. So my advice to you on this would be to truly write down everything that's important to you, everything that you want out of life, everything that you are hoping for. Write it all down and circle the 3 things that are most priority to you. And if there is something in your life that is stopping you from getting there or that is distracting you from getting there, then either get rid of it or decide how you can change that, or decide what change needs to be made in order for you to get to your priorities. It's not really a matter of, oh my gosh, I have to change everything, or I have to change nothing and just stick it out and stay where I am. More so than it's a matter of knowing your priorities and knowing what you do need to focus on. And if there's something that does need to change, you will know when it starts to affect your priorities that you have already listed out and made very clear. Hopefully that helps. How can you be so sure that you'll succeed in life? I can't be sure. I don't know, child. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen tonight. I do not know. I don't know. It's not a matter of being sure that I'll succeed, more so as it is being okay with not knowing. And sometimes it don't feel good. You know, I talk about making all of these plans, writing everything down, circling all of these priorities. But at the end of the day, you cannot control where life is going to go. You might fail. You might get rejected. Hallelujah. You might go left. It may go down. You may go in darkness. Something might happen that puts you off track and just changes everything. You don't know. You don't know. But you also don't know if everything's going to go wonderful. You don't know what connection you'll make unexpectedly that will help you in the goal that you set. You also don't know if it's going to be a wonderfully sunny day tomorrow and somebody gives you $50 on the street. You don't know if you're going to get complimented in the coffee shop and the coffee place made your coffee perfectly that day. You don't know that either. I literally read a passage from Maya Angelou in I think what will be the next episode. And it literally talks about life is pure adventure. And it's about going with the flow and being okay with not knowing. Because you cannot go through this life without facing challenges. You cannot go through this life without facing failure, opposite of success. You cannot go through this life without facing rejection and hard lessons and going through unexpected things. But within all of that, you will always have an opportunity to learn from it and to make a step forward. Even if you don't succeed in life, even if you don't succeed in this one thing, even if you don't succeed in this relationship, even if you don't succeed in this connection, even if you don't succeed in making that chicken you really want to make and it came out dry as wood and it tastes like wood, like in Rapper's Delight, even if all of those things happen, you always have the ability to take a step forward in life. That's what keeps me positive. That even if tomorrow everything went down, oh my gosh, I know that even when everything goes crazy, I will still have an opportunity to take a step forward. Even if it's tiny, even if it feels little, even if it feels like it's not going to do anything, it's still in a forward direction. Because you cannot visit the past, but you can always go toward the future. Amen. Can I get an amen? Yeah! Okay. Okay. Let me lock in. How do I just get up and do? I have also been a victim of laying in bed and just not wanting to get out of bed. Oh, that took a very dark turn. But yes, I know the feeling of just bed rotting, not in the TikTok cute, trendy way, but in the way of I don't want to face life. I shouldn't be laughing, but like I have experienced that where it's like, it's to the point where maybe you're on the couch or you're in bed and you're like, it's not even worth it. Like, it doesn't even feel worth it for me to get out of this bed. It's so much easier to just stay still. I don't want to deal with this emotion again today. Like, I know those feelings, I know those thoughts, and they're very real and they're very human. They're very human thoughts. And in those situations where I've had responsibilities that I needed to do, or maybe I was in that state and I knew for a fact, like, I had to get out of bed. I couldn't take a mental health day. I couldn't take a day to just take care of myself. I had to get up and do something. It would help to ask these questions. It's a set of three questions, and I'll just tell you them. It's a set of 3 questions that I would recite to myself in my head every single morning. I would even before I moved, if I woke up, I would literally answer these 3 questions in my head before getting out of bed. And usually it would help at least a little bit with me getting out of the covers and putting my feet on the ground. It would be, tell me 3 things that you're grateful for. Tell me 3 things you love about yourself, and tell me 3 things you're looking forward to. Now, these answers would change every single day. Most of the time it would look like this. If I was answering, tell me 3 things you're grateful for, I would be like, I'm grateful I'm safe in this room right now. I'm grateful that I have a cover. I'm grateful that I'm grateful the sun is out. Simple stuff. If it was, tell me 3 things you love about yourself, it'd be like, I love that I want to be kind to people. I love that I'm trying my best. I love that I love donuts, because I do love a good donut. Like, I love that I love donuts. And then last thing of what are 3 things you're looking forward to? Sometimes that can be very hard to answer when you're in a very dark state. But my answers would honestly look like, I'm looking forward to getting back in the bed after this day. I'm looking forward to closing my eyes, and I'm looking forward to feeling better again. And even if those answers were as simple as that of, I'm looking forward to go back to sleep, it will put it in my mind of, the only way you can get there is to get out of bed first. The only way that you can feel better again is to get out of bed first. The only way that you can experience yourself liking donuts is to get out of bed first. And it would just put all of these reasons to get out of the bed to combat all of the reasons to stay in. And sometimes it would take longer than normal, or sometimes it would help and be like a great start to the day. But it's just something to help you have reasons to get out of the bed. Or if for you, get off the couch and do what you need to do. Yes. Okay, those were all the questions I have. I don't think I have anything else I want to talk about. Do I have anything else I want to talk about? I think that's it. Oh, yes. If you're watching this, please watch my other YouTube videos. I have an entire web series called Black Girl Magic Minute, where I've made many documentaries about Black culture, specifically targeted toward Black women, fashion, and Black beauty. They're very fun. They're very interesting. They're very like girly and comforting, just like this video. Follow me on TikTok. Follow me on Instagram, if TikTok is still alive by then. Please have a wonderful rest of your night. Please be gentle on yourself. This life is crazy. We're all figuring ourselves out. It's a chaotic process, but hey, we here. We gonna hold hands together through it, okay? Because yeah, your girl going through it too, but like with love, okay? And with that being said, good night, girl.